It's ready.
Okay. Okay, call to order this meeting of the Fraser Park Public Utility District regular state planning and projects meeting for Thursday, January 25th, 2024 at 4 p.m. But we're actually starting at 4:01. Additional teleconference locations: 820 Elm Trail, Fraser Park, California 93225. We're going to start with a pledge to the flag. Okay, ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of
United States of America,
which stands nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and
liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll of directors. Director Garcia is not here. Director Nyman is not here. Director Kelling.
Here.
Director Gibson.
Here,
Director Schoenberg. So we have 3 directors, 2 absent, and that is a quorum. So we are good to go. Okay, item number 2, discussion, vote, adjust agenda if necessary. Do I need to adjust the agenda? D, are we going to go on the closed session for a quick moment or no?
Yes.
Okay, so we don't need to adjust that. I don't see, is there anything else that we cannot do?
No.
Okay, so is there any adjustments?
No.
Okay, so we will move on. Item number 3, public comments. Items not listed on the agenda. This is limited to 5 minutes. Thank you. Are there any public present that need to or would like to comment? Hearing none, I'm going to move on to item 4, standing committee reports. We're going to start with the accounts payable committee.
We met, we went over invoices, we asked Deborah to cut the checks, and we talked about everything else in the line item.
Okay, any questions on that? Okay, how about the state update meeting committee?
We met, we went through all of the things. I think there's probably everything we can talk about on the agenda items. We did confirm with Lawrence that it is definite we can bill up until filing.
Yes,
That is
that was the
definite.
most important thing. I'm glad I understood that correctly.
And we asked many times, many
And
ways,
that's
and it's definite up to the filing.
Perfect, okay.
Okay, I didn't hear that. I'm sorry. What did you say, Gary?
Director Gibson, what she said was that there was a question about when we have to stop putting in claims for the attorney specifically, and anything D does on the well 8, probably not well 9 at this point, but on well 8, that might possibly have to do with eminent domain. And it was, I had believed that it was up until the moment of filing, and that was confirmed by Lawrence at the state update meeting, that up until the moment of actually filing any sort of proceeding with the courts, we're able to bill.
And
Okay, that is great
Lisa,
news.
that also includes anything done by the engineer as well. If it has to do with eminent domain, it won't be covered
I
either.
said that. Yeah, yes.
And the complaint has been filed.
Okay. So,
Anything else I think we can talk about over.
quarterly financial committee? Oh, was there? Yeah, because everything else can be covered elsewhere. We met.
We went through the questions that the auditor had. We did fourth quarter. And the questions that the auditor had, and everything looked okay, so.
Well, that's good news too.
Yep,
I'm sorry, I missed that.
everything, that's good news too.
Oh, yes, okay, yes. So that's done. Are there any other questions in regard to standing committees? Okay, how about ad hoc committee reports, the project committee? We did meet, we.
Yeah, we met. And, with, Emily Wainwright and Jeff French, and, we can talk about that in well 9.
Okay. Any questions of, well, yeah, we'll be able to talk about that. Further, financial committee. We have not met as the ad hoc. We need to do that for the budget. Well, actually, we met briefly to go over the auditor's questions. That was actually the financial ad hoc. So we went over the auditor's questions, and we need to meet to start the budget, but we haven't done that. We don't have.
Yes, as soon as you can do that.
And then the generator pad construction committee, Director Garcia is not present, so we'll wait for a report on that. I don't believe anything else has been done at this point, correct?
We
Done?
can talk about that in generators.
Trying to find a for what?
that's fine.
Generator, nothing else has been, well, we'll talk about that further on the agenda. Okay, so moving on, unless there's any questions, I'm gonna move on to item 6. Financial business, discussion vote on accounts payable and financial information, and I will defer to our bookkeeper, Deborah Angel.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So we prepared 4 checks out of the planning account for a total of $11,981. There were 2 extraordinary disbursements. The first one was to D for $4,792. And that was on claim 36 for regional study grant funds. And the second disbursement was also to D Jasper for $4,231.50, claim 36, project design report. And then we prepared 14 checks out of the revenue operating account for a total of $20,019.65. And the 2 extraordinary disbursements, there was a disbursement of $7,700 to the auditor firm for progress billing on the 2022 and 2023 audits. And the other extraordinary expense disbursement was to state compensation insurance on work comp, and that was an adjustment premium after our actual payroll report for $5,748.63.
Any
Did you have
questions
any-
on that?
No, we saw that coming, right?
Well, yeah, this is the direct result after the payroll increases.
Right, yeah, okay.
And that's all I have.
I will move that we pay our bills.
I
Can
second
I
it.
hear a second? Okay, are there, roll call of directors unless there's any other questions. Okay, Director Garcia absent, Director Nyman absent, Director Kelling,
Here, I.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
and Director Schoenberg is an aye, so we will pay our bills. And I believe That's the only thing we have right now for, Deborah, so you can, take the rest of the night off.
Thank you so
Have a
much.
great week.
Everybody have a good evening and a wonderful weekend.
Great, thank you so
Deborah.
much.
Okay, goodbye.
I will be by your
Bye.
place tonight after the meeting for you to sign the third signatures. Did you hear me,
I don't think she heard you.
Becky? Did you hear me?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. You coming to my house?
Yes.
That's great. I really appreciate it, actually.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, okay, so we will go on now. To our next agenda item, which is a closed session. It should be fairly brief. So anyone in the meeting, know that it won't be real long. I'm gonna go ahead and make an oral announcement, which we're required to do prior to the closed session, Government Code 54957.7A. A representative of the legislative body to orally announce the items to be discussed in closed session prior to any closed session meeting. All right, so item 7, closed session pursuant to Government Code 54957, conference with real property negotiators, Government Code 54956.8. The property being discussed is 255-32028. That's the parcel number. Agency negotiators Lisa Schoenberg, Brahma Nyman, and D. Jasper. Negotiating parties Veronica Alcaraz and Carlos Salcedo. Under negotiation, price and terms of payment. And then item 8, closed session pursuant to Government Code 54957, conference with real property negotiators. Government Code 54956.8, property being negotiated, to parcels 256-070-54 and 256-070-55. Agency negotiators Lisa Schoenberg, Brahma Nyman, and D. Jasper. Negotiating parties Jeff French and Emily Wainwright. Under negotiation, price and terms of payment. And with that, we are going to go into the closed session at 4:14, I believe. Let me double check on my phone. No, it's 4:13. And we will be back soon. You know when?
As soon as Becky comes back. Okay, it's good.
Okay, so this closed session at 4:31 PM. There was discussion, but no action was taken during the closed session. And we're going to go on to item 9, discussion vote update on Fraser Park Lakewood Consolidation Planning Project. Starting with item 9A, discussion vote review of the project timeline and extension. I don't believe anything has changed on that recently. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so unless there's anything to discuss there, I will move on to item 9B. Okay, 9B, discussion vote on the budget adjustment. We do have in front of us a budget adjustment piece of paperwork. And Dee, do you wanna, or actually, I guess, let's have Carlos and Dee present that?
The budget adjustment still hasn't been approved by Lawrence. He was waiting for D to update him on some numbers that he sent him, so
Right, and I'm working on that as we speak.
Okay, any questions in regard to 9B? Okay, 9C, discussion vote update on the standby fee assessment and funding. Anything new on that from self-help, either Carlos or Oscar?
yeah, that was submitted to DFA for approval. We just got an email back from DFA today to answer a few questions that they had on the work plan. And once we answer those questions, they'll submit it further up the chain for approval.
Excellent. Any questions to Carlos? Okay, item 9D, discussion vote on the project technical memo. I believe that's done, right, Dee, or are you still sending additional work to Lawrence?
I got one alternative that I'm finishing up, and let's see, it looks like next week I'm gonna be able to meet with the people that I need to meet regarding the cost of that. And so as soon as I get that done, then I can wrap everything up.
And what is that alternative?
Say again?
And what is that alternative?
That would be the very last one, which is a supplemental water supply from the Tejon-Castac water district's water treatment plant that they're planning on building down at Lebec.
Okay, any questions on that? And we'll see that before that goes to Lawrence?
Oh, yes. Yep.
Okay. Item 9E, discussion vote on the acquisition and development of well number 8 property. We actually discussed that in the closed session, and so I don't think we have anything further to discuss in open session yet, correct?
Correct.
Well, there's one other thing, and it's very minor. Well, maybe not. Lawrence was saying that they might try to, one of the holdup on the getting the funding for the early drilling of 8 is they're hoping to maybe incorporate that into the project. And he doesn't know that. Instead of doing a whole separate funding thing. Remember how we were gonna do a separate funding? He's hoping that the higher ups are going to help incorporate that into the,
project, but fund it before we have the project, so there would be some sort of reimbursement. Okay. That would be excellent, but I don't know
he
how
said
they
he's
would do that
working,
exactly.
he's trying to work on some of
Something
that.
out. That's great.
Yeah, what I understand about that is Lawrence is talking with his upper management to see if he can incorporate that into the grant that we have for the meter replacement project and the well 7 replacement project. And add
Not
that
into the. Not into the consolidation, but into, so just 8 and not 9, just
No, just
8 into the existing meter well project.
We've got funding.
right,
Okay.
just 8.
Which we currently have funding for, so that's even better.
That would help us a lot. But we don't know that yet. He's working on it.
Okay, well, that's good news.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on 9E? Hopefully that goes through.
Yeah.
Okay, 9F, discussion vote on the acquisition and development of well number 9 property. I think that is still also in closed session negotiation in terms of what is needed there, but is there anything in open session that needs to be discussed there?
Nothing, nothing now. Everything seems to be moving along fairly smoothly, that one.
The drilling of 9 would still be a part of the actual construction of the consolidation project
Right.
at this point.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, any other questions on 9F? Okay, 9G has been tabled and is still tabled, which is the sphere of influence, unless anyone wants to take that off the table. 9H, discussion vote on projects municipal service review, the MSR. Do you want to update us on where we're at with that?
Well, I've got the comments from Lake of the Woods, and I'm waiting for yours and Brahma's, the district's comments. And then those will all be incorporated into the final draft. And then I'll send that out.
So did you redo, because we were waiting for you to redo, did you send out something that was redone? We were waiting for that. We gave you comments and we were waiting to see the new item with the Lake of the Woods stuff incorporated to see if there are still changes that need to be made.
Okay, I can do that. I can do that. Just,
Director Nyman should have given you his additional comments already.
Didn't they fax or scan Brahma's
Yes,
stuff to you?
what we decided, at least what I understood, was that Lisa, you still had to get your comments done. Brahma had his, and I've got Lake of the Woods. And so I'm just want to do this once instead of go through it 3 times.
no, because we can't do it just once, because we need to see it with the Lake of the Woods items again in order to give you, I had given you the previous comments, and then Director Nyman and I talked and he gave you the consolidated comments from the 2 of us, which were his, but it was both of us to my understanding. And then
those were incorporated. Those comments were incorporated.
Okay, so I haven't, so to see it again one time before we give final approval is what I thought we were waiting on.
I can send out. Yep, I'll do whatever you want. It's just
Well, it wasn't
I'll send out I'll send out the revised, the second revision, which will incorporate Lake of the Woods, and it already incorporated the comments that were made earlier. And so I can do that.
Not the first set of comments, but the second set of comments that Director Nyman's gave to Tiffany to send to you.
I will do that as well.
No, that's the part that you needed to do, not the other. The first set of comments we had given you, both of us.
I get those.
Then it went to Lake of the Woods, and then we discussed it in the board meeting, but because it was still a lot of stuff that had not been changed, Brahma gave you his list of what he and I discussed. And then the last thing is to incorporate everything, and we just need to look at it one more time to make sure nothing was missed in all the things that we discussed.
So Lisa, okay, sure. However you want to do it, that's
That's
fine.
my understanding.
Yeah, that's fine.
Excuse me? Yeah, because there were still some, I mean, it was little dumb stuff, I know, but it was like there were still things that weren't changed in the from the original comment.
The only thing that I knew that was not changed, other than a few comments that Brahma made, were comments regarding budgeting, and that's all district budgeting, not things that and if it is, then Bravish should have already incorporated those. So I'm confused as to, you know, everything else is pretty much, as I understand it, been incorporated and been incorporated, but the rest of it is budget information, and that should go to Bravish, not to me.
Right, but at the point we looked at it, the email that I didn't get and that I got later, at the point we looked at that, there were still some other items that we had already discussed the first time that had not been changed. That was my understanding.
Yeah, there was some dates and some of the personnel changed.
Yes.
Those
Did you get those?
Those are things that Bravish needs to have to change the MSR. He's writing it, not me. And so Bravish needs to have this information. I can pass it
Right,
along.
but we submitted that to you
But-
to give to
but-
Bravish. That was what the last thing that Brahma submitted to you.
How
his
would-
notes.
How would
Okay.
you like us to get it to Barbie?
Bravish.
Why don't you send me the latest thing that Brahma sent to me? Send me, and I already have Lake of the Woods. I've got it right here on the desk. I'm just waiting for district comments so I could wrap this thing up. And, but please keep in mind, the budget information, that needs to go, that isn't my part of the report. In fact, it's Ravish's report. And so that information can come to me, I'll send it to him, but you know, it is not, those are not the changes I need to make.
Right, but that's the stuff that Tiffany and Johnny were working on, correct? We didn't have that, Director Nyman and myself.
Well,
That was what you had asked Tiffany and Johnny for?
I don't, if you could, send me Brahma's again. And I have Lake of the Woods, and I'll get all those, everything that I know about incorporated, and I'll send it out one more time. But I do believe there's some budget issues that will need to be addressed by Ravish. And those can be, I can pass those along to him as well.
Believe those were questions that had already been put, if I'm not mistaken, to Tiffany and Johnny. Is that correct? Didn't they ask you to submit? There was like, he was asking for, I don't even remember what it was some budget thing. But it was
Oh, that was a while ago.
Yeah, it was
But
quite a while ago,
that was before he sent out the first revision.
but we sent that in, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So I need to look at Brahma's stuff again and see what he's talking about, but we sent it, it just wasn't revised. By you or by Bravish, basically.
Well,
I understand you're not doing it, but Ravish, for whatever reason, I don't know if he didn't get that information or why, but that was what, Director Nyman was questioning that also wasn't revised.
That was back in August when I got the last thing from Ravish.
In August is when we sent that.
If it was August, then it was already been incorporated. My thoughts are, here's what at the last meeting, my understanding was, and please forgive me if I didn't understand. But Lisa, I thought you were going through it and making some last minute changes to what you had. And you were going to send those to me. Now I'd have Ravish, I'd have Brahma's, Lake of the Woods and yours, and then incorporate it and then send it out. And if there's budget issues that are not incorporated in here, just point them out and I will make sure that Ravish gets them. But that was my understanding. I was waiting for your comments, Lisa. That was my understanding. And so sorry about my misunderstanding, but I've got this thing right.
Understanding.
I've just,
I think because Mama told Dee that, that's where Dee got that. He said, these were my comments, and then Lisa will review it and send hers. And he said, Terry, tell everybody that they need to have their comments in by next meeting and give them to Dee. So Dee's right. It's because that's what Brahma told him.
But we sat and discussed the
Well, then
meeting.
Brahma misunderstood, and that's where the confusion came in.
Okay.
You have all of the comments from our MD.
I'm not sure I do, Terry. So send them again so I can make sure that I get them incorporated. And so, just send them one more time. And I've got this thing sitting on my desk waiting to get, well, anyway, so it's sitting on my
Tiffany will
desk,
send
send
them.
them to me. And then I will make sure they were incorporated and incorporate Lake of the Woods comments. And then I will, if there's any issues on the budget, that are, circle it, and I'll send it down to Ravish. He needs to be in contact with the district on those issues. And so if they still haven't been corrected, then just point it out and I'll make sure that he gets on it. But kind of trying to keep this thing moving, but at the same time, don't mean to be an impediment either. My apologies.
Yeah, my apologies as well, because I misunderstood what was being said. I thought that we agreed that Director Nyman. Anyway, I'm not gonna rehash that again, but, so then you're gonna send it to us one final time, correct? To make sure that there isn't anything else.
After Tiffany sends.
After Tiffany resends, Director Nyman's information. I had looked at Director Nyman, and that's why, I didn't see anything else on my end, but I had done it quickly. So then I guess he did say, so it wasn't your misunderstanding, it was my misunderstanding, because Director Nyman told you that I would be sending something as well. Which I did not, because I was feeling like we were in concurrence with what he had written. So, and I'll look it over again one more time, I guess, before
Before this weekend?
no, probably not before this weekend. Maybe, I'll try. I have someone I have to take for surgery, so.
Okay, well,
That's why I don't think there's any additional. I think that's why I'm saying, I think it would be good to just incorporate everything that you have and let us look at it one last time and move it on to where it needs to go. I didn't see everything that I had seen. I had told Director Nyman and I compared notes, and that's why I thought what he sent to you was adequate. So, are there any other questions about that? So our understanding now, I'm gonna repeat it, is that Tiffany is going to one more time send you Director Nyman's notes, you already have everything from Lake of the Woods. You're gonna put that all together. If you, I guess I will say something
Hmm.
this weekend, if I didn't catch, if it's any different, I'm gonna have Tiffany resend me Director Nyman's information as well. And, if I see anything different, I will let you know by this weekend. If you do not get any information from me, then we're done and we just need everything incorporated and we'll view it one more time and move on.
Okay, and I do have, I think Brahma's last set, but Tiffany, send it to me one more time. I want to make sure. And then I've got Lake of the Woods, and if I don't hear anything by, say, Monday or Tuesday, Lisa, I will just go ahead and wrap it up.
But before Monday, so if you don't have anything by Monday, yes,
Okay,
please, any other changes that you haven't made and send it back to us
okay,
for a final review.
will do.
So Tiffany, can you send me, you sent it, didn't you copy of it?
On Brahmas? I don't know that I did, but I'll resend it.
Copy. I just remember looking at it here.
All right.
Okay, so if there's nothing else on 9H, we will go on to 9I, which actually also is tabled currently. Unless someone wants to bring it off the table, I don't believe we'll be doing the memorandum of understanding until the very end of the planning. So 9J, discussion vote on Lake of the Woods projects and consolidation. Who do we have from Lake of the Woods?
Yeah.
We have a few people, Joan, Mary.
Joan and Mary. That, no Pam.
No, Pam.
Mhm.
So, if one of you wants to address us on, where we're at? Can't hear anything.
Joan, we can't hear you.
For whatever reason, we cannot hear anything from Lake of the Woods.
Well, Mary is,
Well, she was unmuted, now she's muted, Joan is unmuted and muted again, trying to talk. I think there's something going wrong.
well,
It's in the minutes from the state update.
Okay, so we do have whatever you discussed at the state update meeting, so we will just go with that and we will move on for the moment. If we need to come back to it later, you can let us know. I'm gonna move on to 9K. Discussion vote on claim number 38 and other claims and payouts.
Joan put in the chat no changes.
No changes, okay, so Lake of the Woods has no changes since the state update report. Okay, so 9K, that would be Carlos.
Okay, so for
And I
claim
believe-
38, we have board of directors fees at $500. We had two invoices by Young and Woolridge, invoice 107444 and invoice 107446. Both those invoices totaled $5,008.88. We have staff recovery costs for FPPUD in the amount of $91. We had a invoice from D. Jasper and Associates that we couldn't put on this claim because it was all construction,
Because of the budget.
consolidation engineering, and the budget hasn't been approved yet. Or the budget adjustment hasn't been approved yet. So the second invoice that we have is invoice 23-01210. And that invoice is goes into the engineering report task. And that invoice totaled $868. Then invoice number three is invoice 23-01211. And that invoice is in the well design task for a total of $441. So the total claim comes to be
Quick question, Carlos.
Yes,
what you're saying is neither one of these currently can be paid because of the budget adjustment? So
No,
those are both, even though they're,
These
No,
two he can pay.
these two can be paid, just the first one can't be paid.
okay,
So that one totaled $441, so the total claim is $6,908.88.
okay, do I have any questions on that? And, I will entertain an approval if, I wasn't at the state update, but, Director Kelly was.
I move that that we accept and approve claim 38.
I second that.
Okay, are there any additional questions on that before I do a roll call vote? Okay, Director Garcia, not present. Director Nyman, not present. Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg is an aye, so that motion passes with 3 ayes, 0, 0, and 2 absent. Okay, moving on to item number 10. Discussion vote update on FPPUD meter replacement projects and emergency well supply project. 10A, discussion vote update on well number 7D. Where are we at with the capping and finalization of well number 7?
Well, Lawrence is running the budget through his upper management. We're waiting on Lawrence right now.
Okay. Any questions on that? Okay, item 10B, discussion vote update on meter replacements.
Waiting for the brass items to come in. And then we'll do an inventory of all the meters before we pay anything once they are received. And I think just the I don't know what's happened the last week, but I think just the 2-inch and the larger meters, I think, have been received. I don't know that very many, if any, of the smaller meters have been received, unless, Johnny, you know differently.
No, I haven't talked to anybody about them lately.
Yeah, my understanding is they're not in yet, but they will be. But the big hangup is the brass items. And those should be, yes.
We asked you at the state update meeting about contacting them and seeing if they could send us an invoice. So, like a partial, I mean, even though we don't have them in hand, but that way we can get that sent to the state. And
yeah, we were trying to speed things up because we're afraid we're not going to have money to pay them when they're ready for us to pay them, because we can't do a bridge loan. It's not enough money. So we were hoping that we would at least get a partial or it doesn't even have to be the full invoice. I mean, I guess it could be I don't know what the word for a projected invoice.
Yeah.
That we could send to the state so that they could start to discuss it, and then we could replace that with the actual invoice.
Yeah, Curtis was going to chase that down, and I'll check with him to see if he's got that together yet.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions on 10B? Yeah, on 10C, this is going to be Oscar discussion vote on claim number 23 and other claims and payouts. We have this in front of us. You want to talk about that, Oscar?
Claim 23, we have 2 invoices, one for the wells and one for the meters, both from D. The first invoice number 23-01213, and that's in the amount of $1,680.25. And the second invoice number 23-01214, and that's in the amount of $508.25. And that brings the total the total for the amount of claim 23 to $2,188.50. And I just wanted to add, I needed some mileage supplemental information from D, and I received that already, so I included that. That should be in your packets as well. For
Yeah,
invoice.
survey mileage. 6550. Invoice 2301213, correct?
Yes.
So with that, unless there's questions, I will entertain a motion to accept claim number 23.
I move that we accept and approve, claim number 23.
I second it.
Do I hear a second? Okay, I think I heard that. Any other questions before I take a roll call? Okay, Director Garcia not present, Director Nyman not present, Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
and Director Schoenberg is an aye, so that motion passes. The acceptance of claim number 23-300 with 2 absent. Okay, and now 10D, discussion vote update on bridge loan requests and payments. I believe we don't have anything at this point, and we did discuss that we won't have enough money in the bridge loan to actually pay all of the invoice that would be required for the meter. So at this point, I believe we don't have anything else to submit unless anybody knows differently.
I think Oscar was gonna give an update.
Oh, you're gonna give an update, Oscar?
But I don't have that information for you. I need to meet with my director and to see when your contract expires for the bridge loan. I know it was initially for a year, but my director did mention, and I believe she mentioned in a board meeting, that if it needed to go for the life of the project, that shouldn't be a problem or an issue. But I just need to double check that with her. Once I have that information, I'll be sure to provide it to you guys.
Yes, very critical. Thank you, Oscar. Okay, any other questions on that? If not, I'll move on to item 11.
With that,
Discussion about update on.
I'm gonna excuse myself.
Excuse me? Okay, thank you, Oscar.
You have a pleasant evening and a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Okay, item 11, discussion about update on pipeline replacement projects. 11A, discussion vote on potholing and mapping that is completed. 11B, discussion vote on engineering and design. Any additional information, Dee?
No, yes. We're at 95% and Kleinfelder will be up there, I think, in the next couple of weeks. They're going to have Wiles do some excavations in the project area just to make sure that we have proper coverage and proper depths for the pipeline. So they should be up there, I think, next week, weather permitting. But I know that's moving along, but I don't have a definite date for them to be in the field yet.
Yeah, they called in a bunch of USAs today, both Kleinfelder and Wiles.
Good. So they're planning on getting going here real quick. And we added those, Johnny, the couple of excavations. I think we have 3 on the pipeline up to the McGee, to include that in the pipeline replacement project as well.
Awesome, thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Dee. Are there any other questions? No. Okay, then I will move on to 11C, the engineering contract.
Brahma has some changes that he wanted made, and I have done that, and I will shoot those up to you, Johnny. The way I think we were going to move ahead with that was I was gonna make those changes and then send it to you, and then you're gonna send it over to the attorney to review.
Will do.
Those will be,
Okay, and then,
I'm sorry, Lisa.
go ahead. Steve.
I just wanted, Johnny, they should be up to you Monday or no later than Tuesday.
Okay, I'll watch out for him.
And that's including whatever we brought up in the meeting. I know we had brought a few things up in the board meeting, correct?
Yes.
That's what we said, that is it, Irma wanted done, and we wanted,
Well,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think,
Okay,
I think.
okay, okay, 11D, discussion vote on the project application. I know that we're still waiting on the audit, but we're moving along on that. And, I mean, like, Terry had said, we did meet and go over the questions that the auditor had for us. And that was some, corrections of what could be and couldn't be incorporated, for our audits, for each year. And so, is there anything else right now, Carlos, that we need for the project application that we haven't discussed thus far?
I will need another little bit of information for the environmental, but I'll get with D on that because I'll need to know like how much square feet we're gonna do of excavation and refilling for the ground and soil, and then how long the project is gonna take to complete, approximate time.
And was it you that asked for the average cost of the maintenance?
Yeah, D got that to me already.
Okay,
And then right now, pretty solidly, tentatively, the auditors plan to present on February 8th meeting. Unless anything comes up, he said to put that date away.
Okay, any other questions? All right, I think that's the end of our need for your reports, Carlos. So we can do the same thing. We can say thank you and have a good evening. And we will see you at the next meeting.
Alrighty, you guys have yourself a good night.
Thank
You
you.
No.
Okay, bye.
Daddy,
Yeah.
what you call me?
Just in the nick of time. Okay, item 12, discussion vote update on Cal OES Community Power Resiliency allocation to special districts grants. Say that 10 times quickly. Okay, 12A, discussion vote update on the purchase of the generators. That's, are there any other changes in terms of the load banks at this point?
The last update I got was it pushed it to April.
of course.
Okay. Anything else that you know about Dee?
No, that's it. They just, yeah, Curtis was telling me they pushed it on out a little bit further. We're holding, what, 135,000 or something? On that
Yes.
project. So, you would think that would be incentive enough for them to get that done, but, I guess there's circumstances beyond their control.
Okay, then, there's no other questions on that. 12B, I don't think we're able to finally place them because we're waiting. Well, actually, we had talked about getting the load banks after placement. So are there new details on the placement? Okay, so right now we're in a holding pattern on that. Any other questions for Johnny or Dee before we move on to item 13? Okay, item 13, discussion vote update on the district water tank repair and a replacement funding.
You have anything first?
I don't.
Okay, I was looking at the website for current development block grant, and they had, I believe is what I found, a timeline And it looks like by the end of January, they're supposed to have a list of all the eligible projects for the grant. I'm hoping that'll be a public list, something they'll put up.
I think it is.
And then we'll find out if we're on the list. So maybe by the next meeting, I'll have more information.
If it's not, I remember seeing that information somewhere before. I don't know if it was in the paper or, so I don't know if the first list is public or not, but I think certainly at that point, we should be able to ask for that list. I mean, I think they need to make it public if it's not already public at that point, so.
Yeah, all it says is, compiled a list of eligible projects, so we can see that list, we'll know if we're on there or not.
Okay. So you're gonna kind of just keep your eye on that and see.
Yeah, keep
find
an eye on their website and see if they update it.
Okay. Okay, item 14. Discussion vote on the mainline extension policy.
Yeah, Curtis already sent me the updated price list. So I'm gonna make those changes on our policy and submit it back to the board for approval.
Okay,
And then, I guess the first page must be adequate, what we had going, but the bond estimate, is what needed to be updated, so.
okay, thank you. Any questions for Johnny on that before I move on? Okay, item 15, discussion vote on the billboard contract. So 15A is discussion review of the county contract. So we have those in our packets.
It's everything I could find.
Everything that Tiffany could find. And I don't know how we want to go through this. Do we want to just read through it quickly or? Well, let me just, I'm just gonna read these points for anyone that's on here because the reason that this is in question is that we have not been completely satisfied at this point with the chamber's contract with us and their maintenance and other and just kind of reporting things and all kinds of stuff. Another entity has expressed interest in the possibility of taking over that sign project, which was the land was originally allotted to us, deeded to us by the county for the project due to what their wants were for all the signs going up and down Fraser Mountain Road. We did all that. We're not, it would take quite a bit of work for us to actually take on the signs ourselves because we're not, it's not appropriate as a special district as we currently stand. And so, like we said, we had made a contract with the chamber, and now there's a possibility of interest from Mountain Memories, which is another entity which does quite a bit of stuff in Fraser Park. So I'm going to just briefly read through this so people know what we're talking about. So there's a letter of intent between the County of Kern and Fraser Park Public Utilities District. It is hereby the intent of the Assistant County Administrative Officer of General Services of the County of Kern to recommend to the Kern County Board of Supervisors to authorize the transfer of ownership from county to the Fraser Park Public Utility District for properties hereinafter described as the 0.85 acre parcel described as APN 260-08121 and the 0.19 acre parcel described as APN 260-08206, Fraser Park, County of Kern, California. The transfer of ownership shall be governed by the following terms and conditions. The premises are depicted on the aerial and parcel maps attached as Exhibit A and B respectively. 2, the purpose of the transfer of ownership is to allow the PUD to directly or indirectly install and maintain roadside signage on the premises to promote local business, which again, we cannot directly do that, but we can indirectly. 3, 2 large monument type sign structures with space for multiple business signs shall be built to fulfill the purpose, which we did. 4, the design and location specified by the PUD for the sign shall be approved by the county prior to installation. The PUD acknowledges that the premises lies in a floodplain and the sign shall be designed and located accordingly. They exist. Item 5, funding for the district, for the design, construction, and installation of the signs shall be provided by the Kern County 4th District Supervisor Office. That'll happen. Item 6, if the premises is not fully developed for the stated purpose within 12 months of the recordation of the deed shall revert back to the county. The deed went forward because we did all the things we were asked to do. Item 7, subject to board approval, county anticipates the transfer of ownership to occur by September 1st, 2012. Item 8, the PUD has completed all inspections of the premises and most due diligence and hereby accepts the premises in as-is condition. So the PUD hereby intends to accept the transfer of ownership under the above terms and conditions, subject to the Board of Supervisors approval, and that was dated and signed. So then we have the agreement for funding for the construction of signage.
There's also nothing in that.
I'm not gonna read all the way through that because it's long, but basically this was for the construction of the sign, which we did. And it's all the funding for that construction, so, it does not specifically point out, who takes care of.
And it also doesn't give a time frame of how long it has to be used to put in business, you know what I mean? The signage project, meaning that if we decided that at some point we didn't want to do it no more, we could tear it down. I'm just saying that, I'm not saying we would.
Revert it back to the. I thought it said we reverted back to the county.
No, that was only if we didn't fulfill what they asked us to fulfill in the 12-month period of time,
Right.
which we did.
Okay.
So it doesn't actually say that. I'm gonna read more carefully through this one again, but as far as I know, it does not specify one way or the other, but I don't see why we would want to do that. It has fulfilled its purpose. It's, and if we have another entity or the entity that currently has it, if either entity is willing to, do all the things that we have asked, and right now we charged a very minimal amount of rent. They are actually the ones charging the rents, the current entity. It's extremely minimal just to maintain our overlooking them, but and that is something in question too, as to whether that $100 we charge monthly is even sufficient to do the minimal amount that we need to do to make sure things are going forward as we require. And then the third part of that is the proposal and contract between the Mountain Communities Chamber of Commerce and us.
No.
No?
Oh, it's the Mountain Memories and the people that built the sign.
I have the Chamber of Commerce.
Well, that's right. Oh, that's Chamber of Commerce. And
That's what I just said.
the. But
We built this sign.
Burning construction bills.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, going.
So this is
their
their
contract.
their
between the
contract. Yeah, so I mean, it's
Well,
it's the Fraser Park roadside signs, but that has nothing to do with FPPUD.
Exactly. You should don't say that.
The only thing there where it says, is on page 2, it says paperwork and admin cost is $1,500. There's a note on here that says needs item stating Fraser Park PUD. So I don't know if that.
So whoever it was made out to, this is just the cost of everything.
Yeah, this is the
Yeah,
cost to
that's
put the signs up. We weren't able to actually, we fielded the money from the county to the chamber. And then the chamber had to have a separate contract with the contractor to actually put it up. But we fielded that and made comments on the sign.
Because there's no contract between that I can see between the chamber and the
And
PPUD,
us just,
except the one that we do every
yeah, the
year.
one that we do yearly.
Yeah, but even in that contract, it doesn't say that they.
No, it's not a permanent thing, and it says that we can revert at any time, we can pull back that contract if we do not feel that they're fulfilling the terms of the contract. which we have not done, but we have, I don't know a good word for it. We have, multiple times requested that terms of the contract be fulfilled.
I'm sorry, Dee. I'm not sure you need to be here for all of this.
Yeah, we're,
I'm sorry.
you don't need to be here. We're all done.
You need to go see your granddaughter.
Thank you, Dee.
You have a pleasant weekend.
Thank
I
you,
can't
Dee.
see the monitor, so sorry, I
Okay.
forgot about you there.
Thank you. I'll, yeah,
I
she's gonna be
just
singing
looked
in
up and
about
I
an
saw him
hour.
bopping around. You have a good night.
Have a great night, Dee. Thank you for your help.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And I do wanna say, so this is the stuff that I found in the file that I thought was pertinent. There's no guarantee our file was complete, because I have lots of pieces of things in there. And it doesn't mean anything else doesn't exist. This is just what we had in our file.
So this is all 15A. I think we've discussed, unless somebody has additional comments or questions, what we physically have. And Tiffany is exactly right. Back at that point, there are many items that did not get scanned or make it into our files as we would have liked them to, unlike today. But I think unless someone has additional stuff there, we could move on to 15B. But I do believe we would want to hear from Mountain Memories before we make any kind of decision. So I don't know if we're ready to make a decision yet. Do we know?
No, I mean, I haven't been directed to ask them to come to a certain board meeting, so I didn't do it.
When is the contract for Mountain Trees? Oh, I mean, we have to.
First meeting in March.
Did anybody find out how much people are paying for that advertisement?
I have not, but I can ask Mountain Memories to research it on their own too, because he knows.
Oh, okay.
I have
I'm
an
just
old
very
price
curious.
list.
We're under the belief that it's fairly a good amount.
What was on 2012?
In 2012, for the big signs, it was like $1,000, $950, something like that. It was, like I said, an original one from 2012. So I don't know if those prices still stand.
Well, I'm sure they do.
And that was to
Who knows?
rent the sign, huh?
Yeah, for the big,
For a year,
there was two sizes.
Or
a
6
small
months.
and a big.
or did it say?
It was for a year, per year.
So, I mean, I think we need that as well, and we need to probably invite both entities, perhaps to the,
I don't think so. I mean, initially you want to see if Mountain Memories is gonna, you don't want him getting into a competition. You're not gonna make a
Right.
decision at that meeting. You want him to come and be able to.
we want them first.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So the
To
next
even-
meeting will only be one.
Right, because we
Instead
would
of-
want to even know if that entity is interested,
Yeah.
for
And-
sure.
And what all they would have to do.
And what they would require, yes.
Right. What's
Or what
required,
we
would
would
require.
Whether they would be willing to adhere to our current contracts, what changes we might be interested in making if they would be willing, and. So, yeah, I think we need to do that first, but I think we may have to have, I don't know if we have to or not, it would be something we probably wanna talk to the, I don't know. Our attorney about. But we don't need to go forward right now with that unless I mean, I think the first thing is to make sure that we have an entity that is also interested. And at that point, we would have to confer on what we have to do, if anything. To switch.
We'll probably end up running into March. So at some point, you'll have to say something to them in March.
Into February.
So I'm gonna ask Wade if he could,
The next meeting,
February 8th.
yes.
February.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay with everyone?
Yep.
Yeah, because they have to come and look at the contract and see if it's something that they'd even.
And talk to us about what, what it entails. And their interest. Okay, do we have any other questions on 15? Otherwise I will move on. Do we want to take a brief recess?
No.
Okay, then I'm going to move on. New business, item 16, discussion vote on the quote for audio video meeting equipment. I believe we all have that in our packet. Do you want me to just read the scope of work briefly?
Yeah, good.
Okay, so scope of work, CTI, so this contract is with a company called CTI. CTI shall provide and install the following for the Fraser Park Utility Boardroom in order to simplify the AV in the board conference room and eliminate the current exposed cables. 1, PTZ camera shall be wall mounted next to the owner furnished display for use when in a video conference. 1, Crestron Air Media shall be mounted behind the display. This also includes 2 adapters to be connected to the clerk laptop for presentation and meetings and video conferences. 1 bi-amp soundbar and microphone system will be mounted below the owner furnished display. This will be used for sound amplification and voice pickup in the room. Labor pricing assumes that the client removes the display from the wall prior to CTI's arrival. CTI, along with a Fraser Park representative, will reinstall the display once the air media is installed. This system will work with the OFE Liberty recording system. Okay, investment. Below is the cost of the solution based on the outlined scope of work. If you have questions about the complete solution, please let us know how we can help align this investment with additional needs or changes in scope. So the proposal summary, the equipment, $5,349.92. The installation implementation, $5,248.68. Coming to a subtotal of $10,598.60, tax of $591.67, grand total of $11,190.27. Recommended 2 additional years complete service agreement, $896.93, or 4 additional years complete service agreement at $1,793.86. Down payment requirements would be a down payment of 60% required to initiate the order. Then they just have a why us. It talks about their who they are, what they do, bill of materials, the video systems equipment, what it costs individually for the items that they have mentioned, which comes up to that total of, whatever I read you, $5,349.92. Disclaimer, that they provide for 12 months of complete CTI complete, which whatever that is, on all system purchases. They warranty free from defects for 12 months. So without that additional coverage that they mentioned, their terms, the installation description and requirements, and provided by others. Electrical requirements are to be provided by others unless specifically included. So if there was something they need electrical that is above and beyond this, and that's pretty much it. And then next steps to proceed. So we would need to put down 60% of their proposal.
So before you guys vote on this, I would like to, if you vote, I would like it if you voted for up to this amount. It was quoted, because I'm still checking with, I just talked to Keith Bedard from Beat Communications yesterday. He's the guy that put in our phone systems and all that stuff. And he's gonna do some research. They don't typically do that kind of work in general, but he does know people. So I thought we could get another quote in the meantime. And if we find something better, we could approve that if it's less than that.
I would actually like to see the other board members here since it's a fairly hefty price.
Right.
That's just my personal opinion
I
because
agree.
we have paid a lot on a lot of things. So I think if we can handle holding off for an additional month, we could make a decision at the next
Then
regular.
we should have just tabled it, because,
Well-
reading it all, we're gonna have to read it all again when we have the other board members.
No,
So you
they
see
can
it,
read
but-
it. I mean, I just wanted to
Okay.
read it for the
Yeah.
record so that, the public knows what
Mhm.
we're doing. The public could
Mhm.
play back our YouTube video or.
Okay, so you wanna carry it over till the 8th?
That's my personal, I
Yeah.
can't make that decision, so the board would need to make a motion on what they wanna do.
Do I motion, and then ask questions or ask questions?
You can ask, motion and then ask questions, so we would, put a motion on the floor and then have discussion.
So I'll move that we table this
Oh, but
until,
if you table, then
What
we
the-
have no
that's what I'm
discussion,
saying,
so you need to ask
That's-
questions.
But we'll have to have the discussion again when we have the full board here, so. I mean.
Well, why don't we, go ahead and ask, the questions that you have, because if you make a motion to table, it's table, we don't discuss.
well, because they wanna get rid of the cables, but yet they're going to, how are they going to connect the laptops?
But it says right on the thing that they have the apparatus, the electronics that does that.
That we would plug in, but we would still
You'll
have
still have a
cables
cord,
going
that's what
across
I'm
the
asking,
floor.
is there still gonna
It's
be a cord?
wireless, I believe, everything.
Oh, it is wireless?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it said, so the TV won't physically be connected to the laptop. Obviously, the laptop's gonna plug into a power source. We can't do anything about that cord, we can't do anything about if we're still using our meeting recorder cord, but it won't, the whole Zoom thing, we won't have that. And the microphone will be wireless, soundbar will be wireless. And the
Because that
connection to
doesn't,
the
see, it
TV
doesn't
will
say
be
that, it just says they're gonna remove, and then all these other things are gonna be connected, and it doesn't say how.
Well, that's because that's the technological side of it, but it's all gonna be wireless. The whole purpose of this and what it plainly states is all the cords and stuff are gonna be off the floor. So that's what we're shooting for, no matter what. And the main purpose of this isn't necessarily to get the cords off the floor. The main
To have
purpose
the
is so we
audio
have a
work.
reliable
Yeah.
sound, video system. That's the main purpose.
And she did confirm that it'll work with both Zoom and Microsoft Teams.
Okay.
And then what do we do with our present day microphone camera thing?
eBay.
We just bought that, it's,
Yeah. And it was supposed to be great, and it does work fine, just not for what we want to use it for.
Just not all the time.
Yeah.
so those were my questions,
So, yeah.
I just didn't, going through this, I didn't understand.
Okay, so I will entertain a motion to table this to the February regular meeting.
I will move that, I move that we, table the CTI proposal to the February 8th regular meeting.
I second
That'll give
that.
you time.
Okay, so roll call directors, and then we will not have any further discussion right now. That would be Director Garcia was absent, Director Nyman is absent, Director Kelling,
Aye,
Director Gibson,
Aye.
and Director Schoenberg is an aye, so that motion is tabled until the February, the first meeting in February, 3-0-0 with 2 absent. Okay, we're on item 17, review and approve meeting minutes for 12/21/2023 state update meeting. Well, there's a few of them. So the state update meeting, the regular state planning and project meeting, and the state and an additional state update meeting. So December and January state updates and the regular state planning for 12/21/23. I will entertain one or more motions to approve those.
you want me to do all three at the same time?
If you so wish, I think we could, as long as you state what each one is.
Okay. I move that we approve the minutes for 12/21/23, the state update meeting. And the 12/21/23 regular planning and project meeting. And the January 18th, 2024 state update meeting. With any of the amendments that were submitted, sent to Tiffany previous to and after the meeting, as well as any additional amendments or typos or other errors that we may not have caught or that may need to be corrected.
I will
Do
second
I hear
it.
a second? Okay, excellent. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call directors. Director Garcia, absent. Director Nyman, absent. Director Kelling.
Aye.
Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg is an aye. That all 3 minutes are passed 3-0-0 with 2 absent. Moving on to item 18, discussion vote on future agenda items. Do we have any future agenda items we need to put on the discuss, vote on, or put on the agenda?
We got 700 forms coming up.
Oh.
They usually do right in the beginning of April, and I want to give a little extra time, so we can address those February 8th if we want to.
I think that would be a good idea. And when we address them, I would like to reread the requirements for the 700 form. I know I've done that in the past, and I know it's obnoxious, but I think it's really important that on record, we read what those requirements are so that our board and anyone else who's required to fill that out knows exactly what is supposed to be required for that form. So there is no confusion. Okay, anything else for future agenda items? All right, well then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move that we adjourn.
I'll
5:38.
second it.
Okay, roll call of directors. Director Garcia is absent. Director Nyman is absent. Director Kelling.
Aye.
Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg is an aye. I actually have, just turned 5:38, so 5:38 it is. Our meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for making all the motions, Terry.
You're welcome. I'll see you in a little bit.
Okay, hon. Bye-bye.